Over on God Awful Movies, we're about to kick off Mormon Movie Month in June, but coming off a blaxploitation movie as we are, Mormon movies were seeming a little shorter than we like them. So in honor of Mormon movies not being quite as long as some other people's movies, we're pleased to present another edition of
God Awful Minis.
So Heath, tell us, what will we be breaking down today?
We watched Where No Flag Burns. It's the story of Brigham Young University, where Dunning-Kruger meets eugenics. It's a lovely place.
And Eli, how bad was this mini?
Well, if you love pyramid schemes, but you wish they came from Nazis on Twitter, you will love this movie. It's kids these days don't even want to trade their money on promises, damn it. The movie.
Yep. Yeah, right. No, that's the opening of the fucking movie. Kids these days. And I wrote it down in my notes as kids these days. Old people during all the days, right?
All the days.
Yeah, so they're opening up on these scenes. What they want is scenes of hippies rioting, right? They're like subversive activity and rioting and everything. But what they actually show us is peaceful protesters being beaten by police officers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Footage of cops beating the shit out of peaceful protesters.
That's seriously what's happening. They're just like, all right, we're going to come right out and say it. The bad guys in our movie are the Students for a Democratic Society.
Yes, and the good guys are the ones dragging them around by their scalps.
Democracy? Really? Boo, nerds. Yeah. Look at these heroes instead in riot gear, shooting tear gas and clubbing these academic terrorists.
You know, and your arm gets really tired when you hold a hose that long, so...
Watch as our intrepid hero is forced to drag a woman by the hair. This hurts him more than it hurts her. We literally watch a woman dragged by her hair by the, quote, good guys in this movie.
Yeah, right. Well, they're demonizing the woman being drugged by the hair. And I love the demonization, too, because it's so fucking random. He says subversive activity, rioting, and destruction of university property. Yeah, violence plus that graffiti ain't going to come off with one scrub, y'all. Someone has to be paid to do that.
I loved that chair.
Now, what do you think is causing all this? Probably atheism?
Yeah, right. No, yeah, it comes up and it's like, normal law-abiding citizens worry about the lawlessness and the atheism of it all. Wait, what? Hold on, what?
Also, we should point out that this is the only BYU-made film that didn't begin with a, by the way, we don't believe any of this shit anymore warning. They are standing by where no flag burns.
Yep. So the message we have so far, Martin Luther King is a bad Christian.
Yeah.
Wait, that feels wrong. No, we're leaning into it. Next scene.
Yep.
Go. That's what we have so far.
If he was good, he'd be more delightsome. But luckily for us, there's a lot of riots and a lot of hippies and everything, but there are still overwhelmingly white places in America, too. Welcome to Brigham Young University, where you can tell nobody's rioting from these aerial shots
of Provo, Utah.
Real quote, like a fresh breeze out of the West.
Yeah.
Also, real quote, founded by the top patriarchal man.
Yep. Brigham Young, a beautiful patriarchal man who founded the university. They actually say that. And then it's like, watch as all these women stay in their lane. Just watch.
Yeah, right.
And they're showing us women, like, for a while. They're like, no, seriously, we're going to make you watch a bunch of this. Look at them being subservient. Look at them staying in their lane.
Yeah.
Look at these streets, our streets. Yeah, it's terrible.
And he's talking about how great the students are at BYU, and he's like he's not saying look how white they are, but he's hinting at it. And I love the part where he's like, and our students don't try to escape reality through fanciful trips on mind-warping drugs. And it's like, yeah, you're Mormons, your minds are pre-warped, bro.
Also, yes, they fucking do.
Well,
I personally know a guy who made a bunch of money selling drugs at BYU. A bunch.
Yeah.
So much he might have gone to jail.
He also calls them neither unwashed or immoral. If this movie has a theme, except for the pyramid scheme it's trying to sell you, we'll get to it. It is that hippies smell bad. I didn't realize what a focus smell was on hippies until I saw this. There's really a lot of emphasis.
You don't know any hippies, and that's the only reason you didn't know that. That would be the thing you would be focused on, let me tell you, Eli. But what I love about this, okay, so they're selling us BYU, and it's the polar opposite of the diversity video from 97% of 97% white schools today, right? It's just like they're hiding the... No, stay behind the pillar. Stay behind the pillar. They're filming. Yep. This place has so little diversity, they all wear the same brand of glasses. So.
Yeah. And the schools, like, normally it would be like some Latin motto about learning. Theirs is like, the free market's fucking great.
Yes.
BYU.
This movie will double and triple down on, like, these young people believe that free enterprise is the best answer.
Yeah.
You just take a supply curve and a demand curve, and then you point at the middle, and everyone's happy again. Everything is fixed by the free market. That's their theory.
Yeah.
At BYU.
No, right. No, we have a big thing for invisible hands. And then they give us the whole, like, and our students love the fuck out of America. Look at them pledging allegiance and singing America songs, huh? So we watch kids salute the flag solemnly for a minute, and then it's back to this nauseous aerial, like that's from, they've got a helicopter that has a hand-cranked rotor or something that they're taking this from. It's bouncing all over the place. The cameraman is vomiting. You can hear it. Oh. Anyway.
This is where they point out that they don't take any fancy government handouts.
Yeah, we're all about free enterprise, so we refuse government handouts all the time. Most of our money comes from a giant tax-exempt organization called the LDS Church.
Yeah, so, right.
No government.
Well,
wait a minute.
And we're so dedicated to free enterprise and our policies against interracial dating that we've refused to take any government money. Yeah. I love, too, that they're like, and by the way, we could totally get away for charging more for our college like real colleges do. This is as good as the more expensive colleges. We're just super nice is all.
We're still one of the top universities in the country. No, you're not.
Yeah, okay. Top what? Top what?
Yeah. There's a number. There's an answer.
They also drop a little mystery in here that I would like your help solving. They say tuition is only 1/3 of the money a student spends. What?
Well, of what it costs to educate them.
Of their expenses, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the other 2/3 is covering up the suicide? I'm confused.
Segregation ain't cheap, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, right.
A lot more expenses to cover after that tuition third. Yeah.
But yeah, that's when this thing reveals itself to be a BYU Kickstarter video, right? It's like, but we sure could use your money too.
Right. And this is where I realized, oh my God, they're selling whole life insurance by another name.
They really are. This is BYU reverse mortgage video.
That's not an exaggeration.
No,
that's literally
what they're doing. Yeah. Yes.
They're like, yep, we run a giant tax shelter.
Yes.
So again, technically not a handout. You just never pay the money in the first place. So they don't hand it back to you physically. So not a handout.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Okay.
And then they explain it and they're like, here's the magic. You give us all your money and property. And that's how it works.
Sorry, I couldn't follow that. I need a numbered list.
And then if you find 4 friends to give all their money to you, those 4 friends do the same thing.
Well, now that's very complicated. So to really understand this, we're going to need to get to know a down-home, hard-working rancher named something probably.
Let's examine the humble farmer. A man with calluses on his hands and a wife who looks like old fruit leather.
He's also a very sophisticated investor. His name is Willard Dirt Clump, the hay mogul.
With a family-owned business valued at just $300,000 in 1916.
Yeah, right. Just a couple bucks there. And boy, are they tired of their $300,000 in assets. But capital gains will eat them right up if they sell. Now, this is the movie's actual answer to that is like, if you sell all your property, you'll have to pay capital gains tax. But what if there were no gains?
Literally. Also, during this montage, as they're explaining this, there's this tiny moment which I love so much. They're showing them working on the farm, and she brings him a glass of milk. And the look on his face is just like, milk? Really? You think I wanted milk right now? or ever again.
After just seeing it come out of that cow penis finger.
Exactly. Thank you. Is that not crazy? Do you immediately drink the milk that you just moments ago squeezed out of a teat? Like, it's,
if you're a smelly hippie, maybe, yeah. But no, we pasteurize that shit.
The vineyard owner trying a grape in the little, commercial for their vineyard. They have a little taste of the grape. I get that. But we're just watching fucking Wilford Brimley sucking straight from an udder mouth right on it. That's weird.
So they're farming, and then a guy shows up, this clean-cut white guy from a 1950s toothpaste ad shows up to tell him about the BYU reverse mortgage. And I don't think they ever give the character a name, but I'm going to guess it has the letters BEAU in it altogether somewhere. Okay.
This is literally how the conversation goes. Hi there. Hi. How'd you like to give your farm to BYU?
Yes. Yes.
No small talk.
He's literally there to sucker the family farm out from under elderly people.
Hello, everybody. For one easy payment of
$300,000,
we will take your farm.
Yes, that's it. That's it. He says, you're not giving your farm to BYU. You're investing it in the education of future Mormons. Oh, Jesus. And then my notes are just, it is a reverse mortgage 11 fucking times for 11 pages here.
But here's the best part. He explains the thing, right? You give me all your shit. We give you a salary. How much?
Yeah.
Not $300,000. That wouldn't make any sense. We will give you an amount of money. And he explains this whole thing.
Yes.
And they're like, yeah, and then you could write it off of your estate, which you don't have anymore because you gave it to me, but you could do that.
Yeah.
He explains it, and then he immediately turns over a pad of paper, which has exactly what he just said on a bulleted numbered list.
Yes.
Which he then goes over again.
I know. And again, keep in mind that the whole message, as we've been getting it so far, is we love America. Now let's show you how to fuck it out of some money. Right?
Yep.
Right? Isn't that what dodging your taxes are? Okay. Well, so Willard and Ellen did give BYU their farm ultimately, but what if you don't have a farm? Well, for that, we'll have to look at the case of Edmund Steele, who only had stocks they could screw him out of.
Yep. He had a mere $78,000 to gain from selling his stocks. There had to be a better way.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got his stockbroker going he's like, I have $100,000 worth of stock I'd like to sell. And he's like, well, you'd only get $78,000 after the capital gains tax. And he's like, oh, I don't want this. And he's like, well, if you give it all to BYU, you won't have to worry about having $78,000.
No. Also, there's this amazing little moment right before he pitches him on the reverse mortgage where he goes, what do you know about BYU? And he's like, well, just their excellent sports program. I hear their track team. Am I really saying track team? Yes. I hear their track team's doing great. Come on.
He says, I hear their track team is gonna be good this year.
Yeah, right.
What? This guy follows college track during the preseason? Is he listening to podcasts about that? What the fuck's happening? That's crazy.
But yeah, so Edmund Steele, he can give his money to BYU, but what if you're a Jew?
Yeah. But yeah, so he explains, the 25% capital gains tax, and Wilford Brimley's like, well, doesn't Mitt Romney pay way less than that? And it was just like, shh, you're old, confused. Shh. Couldn't I just hold the stock until the year is up and pay less than that? Shh, no. Yeah. Can you tell me the amount of the salary that you're talking about?
No.
And scene.
I can tell you exactly the capital gains tax, though.
I love that they're talking to these old people, too, and they're like, we'll pay you a salary for the rest of your life. And
yeah,
they're like 80 years old. This guy, 80-year-old guy, turns to his wife. The rest of our lives. Doesn't that sound good? She's dead. Okay.
No, she's dead. She had a life expectancy of -2. That
was unfortunate.
All right. So Edmund Steele did give his stock income to BYU. So you can do it whether you're a farmer or a stock investor. But what if you're a Jew?
We have New Yorkers.
Yeah.
I got so mad at this point. I saw the New York skyline and I was just like, fuck you. Stay the fuck out of New York City. God damn it.
Yeah, but they found a New York couple who had an apartment they owned in New York, but they didn't want to give their money to one of those flag-burning colleges.
They were concerned by the anti-American attitudes of certain university professors.
All right. None of those universities were founded by a person who actively warred against the U.S. government. Just going to throw that one out there. And also they're talking about this couple that ultimately gave $1 million apartment to BYU. And he's like, and the best part of it is we use their name in this video. Seriously, that's literally the best part of the $1 million.
What if everyone in this movie could fuck themselves to death?
Seriously? Because they were like, yeah, we crunched the numbers. So you guys have this $1 million apartment here in Midtown Manhattan in 1969. Those property values are going to tank. You should just give that right to us.
We'll take that off your hands.
Jesus.
God damn it. Best of all, if the church puts a fucking Jesus bobblehead inside, they can fuck New York City out of the property taxes on this enormous, extremely, extremely valuable building.
Yeah.
But here's the plus side, right? Everyone who lives in New York or has family in New York has a grandparent or a great-grandparent who sold a New York apartment on the Village that had 7 bedrooms or something for $22,000. But someone out there
Stole
has
it.
a grandparent who gave it to Brigham Young University. So we should feel lucky by comparison, damn it.
There you go. All right. Well, so the video realizes you might be getting a little skeptical at this point. So it's like, but if you don't believe me, announcer guy, just ask this professional announcer guy that isn't me. Right?
No.
This is where they introduced Paul Hartman.
Paul Hartman.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, he's a professional news guy or something, and he was super impressed with BYU.
Yeah. We get another aerial shot of BYU. And that's fucking terrifying, by the way. That shot, it just looks so like over-organized, like a serial killer was playing with Legos. That's what the overhead shot of this place looks like. It's no good.
But Paul Hartman wants to kick in and tell us how impressed he was by the student body and his words, subtle dynamism and contagious enthusiasm. That's what made them different. It shows all white people. That's how they were different.
What is subtle dynamism like? Subtly dynamic. Sorry, subtly dynamic. Like, I don't know what.
Also, this is where we get to the code of conduct. Okay. Look, I know we don't tell you to watch the movies along with us a lot. This movie, it's on YouTube. Everyone associated with it is dead. You must watch it. He starts to talk about the code of conduct and then is immediately screaming. I can't. It's the best. He's just like, the code of conduct is very clear about how they will conduct themselves at Brigham Young fucking University.
I am not subtly dynamic. Not even slightly subtle.
There's no subtlety to my dynamism. Yeah, so he starts screaming like fucking Dan Carlin reading a quote or whatever, just randomly, like mid-sentence, and then he'll quiet back down. But at any rate, and he's telling us all about how good all of the kids at BYU are and how they don't do anything unbecoming of a good Christian, read butt stuff. And, by the way, at BYU, they don't commit suicide either. They cured suicide at BYU.
That's true.
You just don't talk about it and don't keep statistics, and it's not a problem.
Sounds inaccurate.
He actually does this weird sort of doublespeak thing where he's like, a lot of people say that, that if you're too hard on these kids, they will kill themselves at an unprecedented rate to the extent that you actually have to block a government inquiry at one point. But that's bullshit. That is bullshit. They are taught by precept and example. I'm shouting again. I am shouting again.
Yeah, he actually says, exact words, students don't mess around thinking about ethics. That's been done for them.
Yes, that's a real quote.
They
It's
were
an exact quote about
their
a virtue of a university. and then he goes nuts again. He starts describing the like big mass that they have where everybody's singing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, 15,000 kids in one auditorium, 200 musicians. I'm coming. It was beautiful.
And then, okay, now we get to actually hear from this guy at the podium, right? So first, he looks like post-Chernobyl dad from the 70s show. He gets up to the fucking podium and he's like, boy, are we not like them filthy hippies, am I right? They're hippies with their acne and their porn.
Nick DeFada really stole a lot of his material from this. Oh, right, because the first line he says when he gets up is, now this is a demonstration. None of that black civil rights movement stuff. Literally, he literally says, now this is a demonstration because he's referring to the sit-ins of the civil rights movement negatively.
Compared to the demonstration of privilege that we're watching at BYU. What the fuck is a white Mormon guy in Utah going to protest? What would that even?
Yeah, right. Well, and that's the whole precept here is he's going like, oh, see, this is just a gathering of normal Americans. The lamestream media would never cover a demonstration like this, and not just because it's boring and in no way newsworthy. Like, imagine the balls on this guy to think that I'm talking to people should be in the New York fucking Times to begin with.
This is literally what he describes newsworthy as, quote, a handful of beatniks with dirty beards hiding terminal acne could parade up and down with pornographic signs, end real quote, and the news would cover it. But like, that's his vision of the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Acne? Terminal? Like
terminal
acne? As you can see, my skin mask is blemish-free. He is terrifying, by the way. The balls on him to suggest anything about facial issues is amazing.
You know how you listen to us making fun of people's physical appearance and then you Google me and you're like, jeeper. This guy has nothing on me. That's all I'm going to say.
And by the way, his whole bit here, his whole tight five is apparently taking hippies are gay jokes from Governor Ronald Reagan, right?
Governor Ronald Reagan. Here's the actual joke. He's got hair like Tarzan, acts like Jane, and smells like Cheetah. It's racist and homophobic and sexist.
Yes. He goes, did you hear Governor Reagan's definition of these hippie types? And I wrote in my notes, please don't let it be bunch of fags. And it basically was.
Absolutely.
It basically was.
What does Jane act like? What did that part mean? I didn't.
Effeminate.
Effeminate.
He was girly. You see.
Gay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, hippies do smell bad, but like the other parts were weird. Yeah.
Well, they have hair like Tarzan too. No, it's just the Jane part. And he says and again, still quoting from Governor Reagan, he says, they carry a sign that says, make love, not war, and appear incapable of either.
Classic. I'm going to go fuck my 12-year-old wives.
We won't acknowledge that black people have souls for a few years, but I think we can all agree that Bernie Sanders can't fuck.
But here's we're in the middle of a BYU pyramid scheme pitch, and it just stops to have a guy go, hippies, bunch of limp dick effeminate wimps, if you ask me. Anyway, back to giving us money. Right? Like, it serves no function.
Well, look, it's nice to know that the conservative Christian business model has never changed. Patreon wasn't around yet, and then he didn't quit out of a suicidal attempt to destroy his income. But otherwise, the business model has not changed. It's just hippies smell bad, and then give me your money.
So, as I was saying, fuck the blacks and the gays. And now let's get back to some timeshares in Provo, Utah.
Yes, yeah. And then we wrap it up to America the Beautiful playing in the background. More of that nauseating goddamn aerial shit.
I will think about these college kids until I die.
That's the end.
Yeah.
That's what he's just like, really want to fuck these kids? Sorry. Sea to shining sea. Kind of ran out of time there. Thought I'd be able to end on something else. Out. Okay.
Yeah, no, the thesis statement of this film is, we get it, Christians. You're scared of us, but you're less scared of us than you are of black feminists. All right, so I guess the closing question for this bit is obvious. If our listeners have a $250,000 worth of cows that they're looking to come off of and they don't want to give the money to Uncle Sam or anti-science homophobes, what should they do with it?
They should donate them at patreon.com/scathing atheist. Now accepting cows.
All right, well, if you enjoyed that mini, be sure to check out the full-size variety over at God Awful Movies. And when we come back, I'll hyperventilate again.